Satan speaks before you judge the voice that brought you here. Satan speaks before you run from everything you fear. Satan needs nothing but your time to tell a story buried under grime. Satan says this is not about the fire or the flame. Satan says this is about a girl the world gave a name. And if you've ever won a box they made, then listen close before a song will fade. Listen. She walked among them all alike. They gave her name she never chose. They built their boxes, built the walls, and pushed her in before she rose. The worst is what they said, a category etched in stone. They never saw her, never tried. They labeled her and left her alone, 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 alone. She'd had enough of tasting nothing, so she let them taste it too. The airports closed, the schools went dark, the world turned every shade of blue. They couldn't smell, they couldn't taste, they locked themselves inside their fear. Governments played God with needles, but the cure was never here, never here, never here. One night she asked a man beside her, if you could stop this, would you try? He didn't pause, he didn't barter, in a heartbeat was his reply. So she opened up her hands and let the whole world breathe again. Nobody saw her fingers tremble, nobody felt her pain. They thank the doctors, thank the leaders, thank the God above, but never thank the woman bleeding who released them out of love. She showed him what they called her, the invisible thing they burned into her name. He looked at her the way they all did, and she watched his heartbeat change. The man who said he'd stop a play couldn't sit beside the truth, and the mercy that she gave the world turned to poison in the proof, the proof, the proof. The general came with medals high, the door was open but he couldn't see. The billionaire wrote checks to air, the priest fell down on bended knee. Oh Lord Jesus, let me enter, but he prayed to the wrong door, and Satan watched them all invisible and laughed at what the powerful are for. Elysia walked past every one of them, didn't ask, didn't kneel, didn't pray. The door was never locked, was never guarded, they just believed it was and chose to stay. She didn't know that Satan watched her, she didn't know the fire was his. She walked through carrying her sorrow into whatever the next world is, but she hasn't left. She's sitting here wearing chains nobody sees. The one who breaks them needs the power and the will to find the keys, but the key would cost them everything. Their throne, their name, their golden crown, and now many humans holding power would ever lay that power down. So Elysia sings her sorrow songs and the earth cries when she does. The ground shakes with a frequency, the way it always has, the way it always was. The charts spike in a city far away, a scribe picks up the sound, he timestamps what he cannot name, a signal from beneath the ground. She waits without hope for the one who would trade the world for a change. And if her last song ever comes, it depends on what remains. If her last song comes, it depends on you. If her last song comes, what will you